guys, go watch Godzilla King of the Monsters. Go watch it. Go watch it. Go watch it. Go watch it. That's basically my spoiler-free review, because starting in the next 30 seconds or so, I'm going to be spoiling everything in this movie because there's no other way to talk about a movie other than spoilers. So please, 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 please go watch it. It's a super, super fun monster movie. Go watch it. How do you not go watch giant monsters fight each other? Go watch giant monsters fight each other. It's that simple. Okay, so now we're going to get into spoilers. And here's the biggest downside of the movie. And no, it's not the monsters. The monsters do their job. They fight and they fight. Oh man, do they fight. It's awesome. Here's the biggest problem though. The human subplot. The human subplot might be the worst human subplot I've ever seen. Granted, I haven't watched all the Godzilla movies. My favorite is Shin Godzilla. I love me some Shin Godzilla. But this human subplot reaches a new low. If you thought the 2014 version was boring, prepare to just die in your seat from boredom of how bad this human subplot is. Okay, so to begin, we have generic family. We're doing generic things. We have a flashback to the 2014 movie where generic family can't find their generic son, so he generically dies. And the parents blame Godzilla, so they create this device called the Orca that this group called Monarch uses. And the Orca is basically like a giant monster frequency maker, so it like matches the frequency of giant monster roars. And it's a really, really dumb device that doesn't or shouldn't work. But so generic family ends up separating, and generic mom and generic daughter are having a generic conversation in which generic dad wants to meet up with generic daughter to talk to her about stuff. And it's really, really boring. It really doesn't add anything. I don't think anyone really cared. And before you ask, yes, I do know their names, but I'm not going to use them because it doesn't matter. It really doesn't. So, generic mom believes that she has to restore the earth because she uses a slideshow presentation to explain. It's like she's giving a college lecture class. And she explains that, like, we're overpopulated, we're using too many resources, we don't have enough resources. So she's going to use the giant monsters because the giant monsters can restore the earth through their radiation and through their fights. And for some reason, she thinks that she's the only one that can do this and betrays her family. But the best part is that the daughter, for some reason, thought that the mom was going to be able to do this without hurting anybody. Let that sink in. The mom was going to use giant monster fights to save the world, and the daughter expected that nobody would get hurt. Let that sink in. And it's just so... I mean, really? Just really? If you haven't played Battlefront 2, the new DICE version for Star Wars, it's kind of like that, where the main protagonist, she realizes, wait a minute, the Empire's killing people? It's just, come on, you can do so much better than that. But anyways, back to Godzilla. Generic dad, he gets recruited by Monarch, and he talks about how he's been drinking and how he wants to see his daughter because that's all, dads want to do is drink and see their daughters. And, eventually the family does meet up, and the mom does a whole explanation. He does the PowerPoint slide. Oh, and another thing that this movie does horribly. Giant monsters are awesome. But what this movie does horribly is they kill off Ken Watanabe. How are you going to kill off Ken Watanabe in a movie that, like, what? How do you kill him off? It's impossible. It blew my mind. It blew my mind. When Ken Watanabe... So Godzilla gets injured, and Ken Watanabe is like, I will go save him. So they go feed him a nuke, which is pretty weird. I don't know. It just seems weird. I'm pretty sure it's been done in previous movies, but in this movie, it was just done so oddly. I don't know. It just was a really odd scene. That's another thing. Uh, I hate. I absolutely hate when a movie or a TV show, an anime does this a lot, but when they fake the main character's death, in this case it's Godzilla's death, they use this oxygen destroyer and they make it seem like only Godzilla died because they use it when Godzilla and Ghidorah are fighting. And they're like, oh no, we just killed Godzilla. Like, we totally killed him. And I'm sitting there in my seat going, yes, you totally killed him. He's totally not coming back. It's not like the movie's called Godzilla King of the Monsters, right? And then, surprise, surprise, he's not dead. I mean, you're just wasting so much time. That's another thing about this movie, is that because of the human subplot, it's like a 2.5 hour movie. It is ridiculously long. And if you cut out the humans, it would easily be one of the best movies ever made. Or maybe made the humans more minimal. The humans get a lot of screen time, which is pretty annoying. But, so yeah, Ken Watanabe dies. Generic family meets back up. And here was another part where I just started laughing of how bad this was. So, the family's trying to get away. And King Ghidorah is there. And so the mom decides that she's going to self-sacrifice because she needs to redeem herself in the eyes of her daughter and her husband because she betrayed them and went with a terrorist group. So what does she do? She uses the orca to lure away King Ghidorah and dies for seemingly no reason, abandoning her loving husband and child who probably didn't care, who just wanted their mom back, but instead she decides, no, I'm going to make myself more important than both of you and sacrifice myself for no reason, really? I mean, it didn't really add anything to the story. It was so abrupt. She just drives off with the orca making a noise to lure King Ghidorah away. But it was like, why? Why did you feel like you had to be their savior? You didn't do anything to redeem yourself. You just acted like an idiot. But then, oh my god, so then this scene happens, right? And it's so dumb. You don't really care. But then, then Godzilla, burning Godzilla comes out. Oh, baby, is burning Godzilla so cool. Oh my god, it was really only like less than a minute, but oh my god, was it so cool. He just straight up destroys Ghidorah, and then all the monsters show up, and they bow to him, for he is the king of monsters. Oh my god, how good that scene was. It was really cool. It was really cool seeing the giant monsters, and something that something that blew my mind towards the end of the movie is, you know, when you walk out of a theater and everyone's talking about the movie, they're just like, you know, oh, what'd you think, all this and that. When we were walking out of the theater, someone complained, man, that movie was all CGI. What? What? What did you think the movie was going to be? I mean, if you watch that trailer and you think, wow, they're using a giant practical lizard. Like, what? And believe me, I've seen the rubber suits and the puppets that they used to use in the old movies. I don't want to go back to that. Do you want to go back to that? No. The CGI was not bad. It wasn't bad. It really wasn't. And I can't believe someone complained that the movie was CGI. I mean, what do you want? A real giant lizard? A real giant 3-headed dragon? A real giant moth? Oh my god, and Mothra. Mothra's death was amazing. You know, Mothra always dies. It's so sad. But I mean, she did her job. And she's coming back. Spoilers. I mean, if you're already here, you're listening to spoilers. But they found another egg. So she's probably going to be in Godzilla vs. King Kong. Oh, and they drop Kong's name like crazy in this movie. But he never shows up. He's never, like, on screen. I guess he's just stuck on the island. But they very heavily reference Kong Skull Island. And they throw some references to other giant monsters because there's 17 of them. So, I mean, they're setting something up. fingers crossed that eventually we'll either get a Gigan or a Destroya or a Biolante, something like that. I want something good. I and look, I get it. If you're not into giant monsters or really really boring human subplots, then this movie really isn't for you. But all I ask is that you please support this movie. Please, please, please. I want more. These are the kind of movies that I love. I love giant monsters. I love giant robots. Pacific Rim never got its fair shake. Did you ever watch the second Pacific Rim? Don't watch the second Pacific Rim. Only watch the first one. The first one is okay. It's not horrible, but I really really want a giant monster fight that has just like an amazing budget, like a Disney level budget, and then gets its Disney level return. But I don't want Disney to do it because Disney will ruin it. But yeah, go watch Godzilla King of the Monsters. Long live the king. It was amazing. I loved it. And I want everyone else to love it. I want it to be successful, and I want it to spawn even more giant monster movies. Giant monster movies are awesome. Who doesn't love giant monsters? Seriously. Oh, yeah. Thanks for listening. Check the description down below and subscribe for future rambles.